Hey, Jane LaFazio here, and I'm excited about our upcoming Sketchbook School workshop, Mixed Media Garden. And there's a couple things you can do to prepare in advance. So I'm going to show you how to prepare your paper, get that vellum ready, and then, of course, go buy yourself a bouquet of flowers. So here's what I'd like you to have prepared, if you can, for my workshop. Pieces of watercolor paper, 7.5 by 5.5 inches. This is hot press. Some pieces of watercolor paper stained with coffee, and then one with a little bit of collage. I also am hoping that you have some vellum. This is vellum, cut to that same size, 7.5 by 5.5. If you don't have vellum, this is tracing paper. It won't be near as nice, but you'll get the idea of the technique. So if you don't have vellum, grab some tracing paper, and again, have all your pieces of watercolor paper 7.5 by 5.5 inches. I start with a full sheet of Fabriano watercolor paper hot press. This is half of that full sheet. And I fold this and I tear it to this size. And then I fold it again. So by getting the full size sheet, 22 by 30 inches, which is a standard size sheet of watercolor paper, you can make a couple of books, depending upon how many pages you want. So you notice I'm folding and then I'm going back and forth with this bone folder a couple of times, and that makes it easy to tear and gives you that nice deckled edge. Then I'll fold it one more time and do that same thing to get the size paper I want. And that size paper is 7.5 inches by 5.5 inches. That's the size we're going to be working with. A couple times and tear it. So grab yourself a cup of coffee. Doesn't have to be hot, or it could be cold, or even a cup of strong tea, and just pour it on your paper. And you don't want to cover the whole paper, at least I don't. And then I just flip it over and maybe do a little bit on the other side, like so. And then I just let the paper dry. So before the workshop starts, I would love for you to prepare at least one page with some collage element on it. So as you can see, I've got a book page here, and I'm putting just using glue stick on the back, and I'm going to place it on my paper. I like for collage to use kind of neutrals like this. I don't want anything too bright or bold, because that would influence what I'm going to draw on this page. So I find it's best just to go with neutrals. This that I just tore is the inside of an envelope. They come in different patterns, so it's kind of a nice collage element. This, by the way, is a piece of deli wrap, like a wax paper that I'm using just so I don't get glue on my surface, my table surface. Notice I'm using my bone folder just to press them down flat. Really want to get them flat. And then I've got one more little envelope pattern that I can add. And I'm putting them, along this side of the page. But you could put them anywhere. You could put them in the center or wherever you want. But remember, your drawing is going to be the focal point. So this is just a background element. There we go. So there's the collage. I'm going to grab some scissors and cut these edges off. So I've got page ready to go, and I have my transparent watercolor ground, and it prepares the surface to accept pen and watercolor. Now, you may not have this product yet, but if you do, go ahead and use it on your collage papers. It prepares the surface, as I said, for watercolor, and it helps each surface accept watercolor in the same way. Because if I didn't put this on here, I might draw on it, and this would be fine for watercolor and this wouldn't, like that. So it unifies the surface. So prepare your collage page, let it dry. So I hope that that was simple enough and that you can do all that before the workshop. So I will see you Mixed Media Garden Workshop with Sketchbook School very soon.